Hi everybody, I think I have got everything in the right order. Thank you very much for that, Maxine. It's great that you tuned in to act as support, and also to see kind of like what I'm up to. So yeah, I think I am kind of like I think everything's right now. I didn't have my phone on auto rotate. I had it on portrait. I'm not quite sure why, but something I need to check for. Need to check going forward. Okay then. So let me kind of like move on then. So the first characteristic, the first quality that a good project manager has is they inspired a a shared vision. Now, you're a project manager, you have a team. Your project team could be internal to the they're actually doing the work for you or with you, and external as well, whether it's customers. Yeah. So, gosh, this is sorry, phone call. This is awful, isn't it? I think I've got a lot of things that I need to kind of like check for going forward. But anyway, yeah. So they inspired a shared vision. Their role is to motivate. Their role is to inspire. Their role is to articulate and communicate the project vision, the project mission, and the project objectives. Okay, so as a project manager, those are the things that they need to do, and that's kind of like plays a large part of their role as a project manager. Imagine you've got a mixture of people, a mixture of individuals, a mixture of behaviors, a mixture of problems and successes and emotions, and you've got to kind of basically shepherd this disparate group of people to deliver a project successfully, satisfactorily. Okay, that's a skill. That's a skill. And that's kind of like, that's one of the things that a project manager needs to have. Another characteristic is they need to be good communicators. I'm not being one so far. The bulk of a project manager's role, probably 80 or 90% of what they do is communication, either in oral form, either in presentation form, either in written form in terms of reports, either in networking form in terms of gaining the confidence of their project sponsor, of their project stakeholders, of the various department heads, basically everyone they come into contact with. Yeah, I think a lot of people can think that a project manager just spends their time in an ivory office, locked away in their room, producing reports or phoning people or sending emails. But good project managers actually do a lot of their communication by walking around. I think they used to call it management by walking around, not locked away, but talking to people, speaking to people, inspiring people, motivating people, making people aware of what is going on, making people aware of risks and issues. So probably about 80 or 90% of a project manager's work is involved in communicating. And I think that surprises a lot of people, to be honest. But again, studies kind of show us, and my own experiences show that as well. Hi, Richard. Okay. Hiya. Okay, hang on. Right. The third characteristic is integrity and truthfulness. Now, sometimes the project manager is the bearer of bad news. I need more money. You're not getting what you thought you were going to get. This project's going to be delayed, or you can't have that. It's not in the business case. It's not in the contract. It's not in the project charter. So integrity plays a large part of what a project manager does. And also, you're setting the culture, you're setting the values for your team. Okay, they're taking their lead from you. If they kind of see that you're cutting corners, that you're late, that you don't turn up for meetings, that you don't take your role seriously, they're going to do the same, and it will, it will reflect in the work. It will reflect in the deliverables. Okay, just in case you kind of like arrived late, Richard, we're going through the 10 characteristics or qualities that a good project manager has. And the first one we spoke about is that they inspire a shared vision of what it is they're looking to do. Also, they are very good communicators as well. The bulk of their work is involved in communicating, whether in written or oral form. And also, they've got to have integrity as well. Yes, yeah, all of those. You know, you're setting the parameters for your team. Now, a project manager doesn't have to be, you know, a manager in an office or a manager on a building site or an architect. Integrity does play a lot in what they do. The fourth one is that they possess very good leadership skills. I suppose that's linked to point number one in terms of having a shared vision. That they are a leader. You know, the buck does stop with them. Fortunately or unfortunately, if they kind of score a goal, they're a hero. If they let in a goal, they're not. Okay, but leadership and there's lots of books by John Maxwell who talks about leadership, or Peter Drucker. Again, he talks about leadership. He talks about management as well. So in terms of resources, there were two very good books, not just for project managers, but in any sort of management or any sort of, if you're in any sort of management or any sort of leadership role, these are very good books to read, or you can find them on YouTube as well. I'm a natural born leader, I lead from the front and by example. I actually started off this broadcast, Richard, by looking at whether management, project management, or even leadership is an art or a science. My view, it's a mixture. You can have natural born leaders who are very poor, to be honest. And you can also have kind of people who acquire the skills and they become very effective and very great project managers. That's correct. And good project managers or good leaders need to do that. The fifth point is that they are very good decision makers. They tend to make decisions quickly and decisively. There's this notion about kind of like making effective decisions and making efficient decisions, but you have to be able to make decisions. And I think kind of where managers or project managers tend to fall over is their inability to make decisions quickly and make good decisions. So you can make quick decisions, but they're rubbish. Yeah. So they don't procrastinate, and I think a lot of us tend to do that, or we tend to have an analysis or paralysis of analysis, where we spend all our time just kind of like looking at the details, and you end up not making a decision. Okay, so good project managers make decisions. It may take them a while to come to that decision, but once they've made it, they stick with it and they go kind of forward. I suppose it's with the tailor, isn't it? With his scissors cutting a piece of cloth, they will kind of like take a long time to cut that cloth, but once they've started, boof, they go for it. Okay, so that's the fifth characteristic, or the fifth quality that a good project manager has. Got 5 minutes left. So the sixth one is that they are experts in task delegation. A lot of good project managers, myself included, they actually compile a stakeholder register. Well, that's what I do anyway. So everyone you come into contact with on your job, whether it's your team member or it's your sponsor or it's your stakeholders, I actually do a register in terms of, okay, what is this person like? What are they looking for from me? What sort of information do they need from me? What sort of, when do they want it? Is it monthly? Is it weekly? Is it daily? What impact can they have on my project? And therefore, how should I treat them? Okay, so having an asset register of people is a very good thing for you to do. It's worked really well for me. And also, they working as a team, they tend to assign the right task to the right people with the correct skill set at the right time. So they are experts at delegating. Again, a lot of people think that project managers are kind of like power-hungry individuals and they want to keep all the work to themselves. They're kind of like, it's their baby. But good project managers realize that they need to clone and reproduce themselves. they need to kind of get their team thinking like them, because they just haven't got the time. They just haven't got the time to do everything. So they're very excellent. They're very good at delegating their tasks. Okay. The seventh characteristic that they have is that they are very well organized. Not only do they plan very well in terms of producing resource plans, budget plans, quality plans, communication plans, stakeholder plans, and Gantt charts or schedules, but they're very well organized. Again, we have what we call a project folder, where all your information, all kind of like your bits go into one central document. So if you get run over by a bus, someone can pick up that document and after a period of time run with that. Again, in one of my earlier broadcasts, well, last week in fact, I mentioned about a video that was done by Brian Tracy. Well, it's probably about 20, 30 years ago. It's called Time Management, and I would recommend that you you watch that video. So it tells you all about being organized, but it tells you all about tasks and how to prioritize tasks, and how to prioritize tasks. And then with a task, you can either do it yourself, you can delegate it, or you can get rid of it, or you can say, well, this is not really important, this is not urgent, this is not something I should be doing. So Brian Tracy, Time Management, please watch that video. I've watched that and that's really helped me in my role as a project manager. Okay, the seventh characteristic is that they own expertise. They do a lot of research into political trends in project management, economic trends, social trends, technological trends, industry trends in their area. So and again, that's a question I like to put to you. Whatever job you do, whether you're an accountant, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a baker, whether you're a butcher, a candlestick maker, how much of an expert are you in your field? Okay, so you can do the job, which is great, but that job, hello sir, hello. So how good are you in researching the industry? Is your industry going to change next year due to legal or governmental or different sort of policies coming out? Are you aware of that? Again, when I started off in project management, people were talking about the waterfall technique, and that was the way that we kind of like ran. That was the methodology we used to manage and control projects. And from there, it went to PMBOK, which is another method which is used to manage control projects. But now people are talking about Agile. Now I came across Agile probably about 10 years ago, but now it's being used everywhere. Okay, so so again, it's a case of whatever role you're in, even if you're not a manager, even if kind of like you're a supervisor or a line manager or a worker, project management, sir, project manager, Mr. Abu. A good project manager, okay? So again, that's something that you need to kind of like be aware of. The ninth characteristic that a project manager has is that they're great problem solvers. They love. I love puzzles, and again, you think of a project manager as being a very dry person, but they are very creative. You're solving problems, you're managing risks every single day whilst you're on this project. You're dealing with conflicts within your team every single day. So they have to be great problem solvers. As well as being great decision makers, they've got to be great problem solvers. Okay, so they've got to be very creative as well. And the last point 10, is that they know what teamwork is. Again, any sort of manager, any sort of leader, or anyone aspiring to be a project manager or a leader have to be able to manage themselves. They've got to be very disciplined, but teamwork is what you use to drive your project forward and for it to be successful. Richard's made a comment, every building site should use carbon cure and cement and concrete. But again, that's changing, isn't it? Because you've got green project management now, or green buildings. You've got kind of buildings with kind of like, again, with this epidemic with allergies. I think kind of like you read about the unfortunate situation a couple of weeks ago or last week, which a case went to trial over Pret-a-Manger. And unfortunately, people had allergic reaction and transitioned. So again, kind of like houses have been built. I think there's a program on Grand Designs where a couple built a house which was allergy free in terms of the materials they used and kind of like they filtered out the air coming into the building. So again, that's a trend. Is it a growing trend? Is it a developing trend? Is it a fad? So again, kind of like if you're in the building trade, you need to keep abreast of the different sort of technologies, the different sort of materials that you're not just using now, but it's what's on the horizon as well. Good evening, Bradley. Hope you've had a great day. I have. So those are the, I've run out of time now. So those are the 10 characteristics that, or qualities that a good project manager has. Now, how do you acquire those skills? You can go to seminars, you can network, you can read. There's lots of information on the internet. There's books that you can read. There's YouTube videos that you can watch. You can choose to get coached. You can choose to get mentored. But there's lots of resources out there for you to acquire the qualities and the characteristics of a good, to be a good or a great project manager. Okay, so last message from Richard. Carbon cure traps CO2s and buildings are much stronger. Yeah. There's lots of, it's kind of funny because I've always been interested in building my own home. And, my preferred style is Georgian. I just kind of like love the looks. But, if you look at the forms and the structures that the new materials enables you to design and construct and develop, you're thinking, well, if you're building a new home, do you really need to kind of like, Georgian may have been great 200 years ago, but is it really appropriate now? The Victorian style may have been great 100 years ago, or the Regency style, or the Edwardian style, or the kind of like Romo Greco style. But, you've got new materials that kind of like gives you great opportunities in terms of new forms and new structures. My family has built and renovated quite a few homes. And again, Bradley, in doing that, have you found that the new materials presents different ways of constructing your homes in terms of basements, in terms of kind of like whether you go for open planning, whether you go for double heights, ceilings, so new forms and structures. So I hope you've kind of like found, apologies for the start, but I hope you found some of this to be of use to you. So I think 25 minutes. So I'm done for another Wednesday. I'm back again on Saturday at 10 a.m. where I'll be talking about PMO, Project Management Office, and these are the guys and girls who enable the project manager to help him to deliver his project. Okay, so the last comment will be with you, Richard. Can do all those things with modern twists and green technologies and energy saving. Great. That's the last word from someone who's going to have been watching the show. So thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Apologies for earlier on in the broadcast. Okay, final comment with you, Richard. So with you, Bradley. A really great way to render your home and artificial cladding looks awesome. I agree. I'm actually investigating into that now. Actually, received some brochures from German manufacturers because they tend to do things in Germany, and they kind of like bring it on site, and they use a lot of rendering and a lot of cladding as well. So that's something I am actually looking into. So thank you very much, and So that was the 10 qualities or characteristics that a good or great project manager has, and that you can acquire and learn and develop and enhance that for yourself. Okay, bye for now. Bye-bye.